Program family. I'm Michelle Peel, the Communications Director here at New Jersey LCV, the political voice for the environment. And I'm here with our Executive Director, Ed Potosnik. And this is the third installment of our series on our common agenda. And today we're going to focus on transportation. But before we do that, Ed, let's have you once again introduce what is the common agenda.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here. Ed Potosnik, Executive Director with New Jersey LCV. The common agenda is how we put together a 2-year agenda for the legislature, which occurs every 2 years. So we're about 5 months into a 24-month window that we have in this session. And over a dozen groups, we get together and look at, okay, environmentally, what do we want to achieve? What is our partner organizations on the ground, labor, faith, etc., and ensure that for our children and grandchildren, we have a better, more prosperous, cleaner environment for them to inherit. So this session, one of our priorities is 100% clean electricity by 2035. We also have a goal of preserving open spaces, our parks, our forests, our farms, and historic sites, reducing what we're going to talk about today, emissions from our transportation sector, which is critically large and important for us, number one source of greenhouse gas emissions. Safeguarding clean drinking water, so that when it comes out of your spigot, you can know it's safe and reliable. And then enhancing voter grants, so that every New Jerseyan can access the polls unencumbered and have their voice be heard in elections.
Great. Now today we're going to be talking about transportation. Tell us why that's so important, especially here in New Jersey.
So one of the things that is important for everybody to know is transportation is the number one emitter of greenhouse gas emissions, almost 42% based on a recent report. That means with it, coming out of our tailpipes of our buses, trucks, cars, etc., is not only greenhouse gas emissions, which hurt us through increasing climate change, more frequent and intense storms, flooding, all kinds of wind damage, etc., but also with it, particulate matter, other types of pollution. And every single county in the state of New Jersey receives failing grades on the American Lung Association's report card. And we can change that. And the best way to do that, the biggest bang for your buck, is reducing emissions from transportation. So that means, and one of the things we support is electrifying our buses. That means public transportation, so it can be affordable and reliable. Electrifying our cars, trucks, and other heavy duty sort of vehicles. If we can move towards 100% electrification, or as close as we can, some things are really hard to electrify, we're going to cut pollution out of the air. We're also going to combat climate change and help us to prevent some of the worst impacts that are going to devastate communities if we take the right action.
Now, we know this is especially important in communities of color in New Jersey, where we've seen industry and also transportation centered in those communities. Can you talk about that and what that means for them?
Yeah, so New Jersey is the most densely populated state, which means we have more people per square mile than anywhere else. And the impacts of pollution are disproportionately negatively impacting communities of color and low-income communities. In fact, there was a recent study that emergency room visits due to asthma per 100,000 people is 4 times higher for Black residents than for their white counterparts. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that a lot of our roads, a lot of our highways, a lot of our transportation infrastructure, our ports are located around urban communities where people of color live. And they're breathing that air, literally choking on the industries that are going throughout their neighborhoods. If we can electrify those, we can get the pollution out of the air, we can improve health outcomes and extend not only the quality of life, but the length of that people are able to enjoy.
And you were also talking about, when we were talking about earlier, how it saves money in the long run with the reduced health thing.
Well, first of all, an electric vehicle is actually cheaper to operate than an internal combustion engine counterpart. So, for example, in addition to no sales tax and EV incentives like $7,500 from the federal government, $4,000 from the state of New Jersey, and no inspections that are required, the cost per mile is much less. So, like my electric vehicle, I save $1,800 a year on using electric to go where I'm going, same distance traveled, than if I used fossil fuels and polluted the air. And using the same electricity that comes off the grid, you might say, oh, it's using some sort of fossil fuels to make the electricity, but the normal plug that you have in your house, it's 80% less pollution. So in addition to saving $1,800, I'm also doing 80% less pollution to go that same distance. So that's why electrification is so important for us. Another example is in New York City, they did a study. If they electrified one public bus from diesel to electric, it saves $500,000 in health costs that would have been borne on individuals because they would have gone to the emergency room, had to buy an inhaler, or other health-related risks, asthma, cancer, heart disease, which you don't have with the electric vehicle, or at least an 80% reduction in those. So in addition to saving you money to operate, they save money on the health care you don't need because it's a preventative measure, because you're getting the pollution out of the air so you don't have to get sick from it.
Great. So anyway, we are great supporters of public transportation, and we often talk about that, but New Jersey Transit has some issues. Talk about that and what we would like to see change.
Well, New Jersey Transit, first of all, has had a lot of investment, but still has a long way to go. Sometimes you get on there and you're like, where am I? This does not feel like the state-of-the-art metropolis that is, New York City or Philadelphia. And it's really lagging behind other metropolitan areas. And by 2026, it's actually facing a big funding cliff, and it'll be down or in need of about $1 billion. And that's going to be a problem because in addition to the infrastructure not being where we want to see it, both physically, reliably, and otherwise, it also is running out of money. So we believe and support a reliable, predictable, and sustained funding mechanism for New Jersey Transit. That's why we're supportive of the corporate business tax surcharge that expired at the end of last year coming back. This is a fee that is associated on the corporations that make the most, $1 million in net profits after expenses or more. 2.5% of that would go and help to fill that cliff that New Jersey Transit has. And because of that, you're going to see less traffic on your roads. You're going to breathe cleaner air because public transportation is cleaner than using your own vehicle. And we're really appreciative that Governor Murphy put that in his budget, but we want to see it funded through what is everybody knows how to use, that is the corporate business tax, which was the mechanism that expired at the end of the year. That's really a critical component to that because it has other environmental advantages.
So we always like to end it on a positive note, and we always say, what is our ask? So what do we want our viewers on Instagram to know and to do?
Well, more than anything, first of all, taking a minute to learn a little bit about what we're fighting for really helps. But you can get involved in lots of different ways. I would say follow our link on our website, njlcv.org, to learn more about what we're doing and what's coming up in your area. We're doing canvases for clean energy. That means you're knocking neighbors' doors to make sure they understand the benefits of solar and wind and other renewable resources. We also have State House days where we're educating our elected officials so that they can be supportive of these issues. More than getting out of your house and off your couch, sending an email or making a phone call to your elected official can go a long way too. And we can help you get you set up to do that as well.
Okay, so thank you so much for being here with us today, and join us next time where we're going to talk about safe and clean drinking water.
Cheers.